Sammy's outside with CM Punk.
What?
Yeah.
CM Punk, yes. Jimmy, welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
We were talking about Cuba with Adrian.
Hi.
He's not happy with this Cuban thing that is going down. That's Dan Soder.
All right.
Really good to see you again, buddy. Good to see you.
Congrats. Thank you.
Congrats for landing on your feet.
Yep.
First of all, I got to start
Where
by
do you need me? Right here?
wherever you feel comfortable. First of all, Jim Norton just left with his coat on, and he's so bummed out.
Yeah, he was.
But he's got to shoot today. He's,
Are we on right now?
Yeah.
Jim's dead to me.
Oh,
He's dead to me.
he's a big star, though.
He's dead to me.
He's got to get to set.
What is he shooting?
It's a
shooting-
show
yeah,
for Deadbeat.
Yeah, a new show. He got a part in, and he's very excited about it, so he has to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Hollywood Jim Norton.
And they wanted him to leave like an hour ago. He's like, no, I gotta at least say hi to CM Punk. And then you're running late, so it's not in the cards today.
Nah.
Which is okay.
He's dead to me.
I like your cutthroat mentality. You left for a job? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're dead to me.
You gotta eat. You gotta pay the bills.
I'm trying to give
I
a good
like
explanation too, and
Nah.
he won't listen to this guy.
I hope
Just
he's
don't
listening
listen.
right now.
He probably is in a cab or something.
You do that? Would you do that? You listen to your own radio show?
No. I stopped
Yeah.
doing that probably 15 years ago.
You've never caught a replay.
A little bit, every once in a while, but I don't.
Do you
go
ever listen and go, good job? Like, give yourself an
Oh,
affirmation.
no, half the time, like, what a fucking douche you are.
Yep.
That was such a
I
leading
hate it.
question.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just hear all the mistakes you made, and this
you
and that.
see yourself and just like, no, don't make me watch this.
Yeah, I find it impossible to watch myself do stand-up.
Isn't that weird?
Impossible.
Everyone says the same exact thing. It's
I know people, though, that are super fucking arrogant.
We're all just self-loathing. We all just hate
Most of
ourselves.
us
Which is
are,
good.
so
That
we're
means,
not-
but that means that's a good thing because
You're humble.
Yeah.
I don't like me.
yeah.
I know people that do watch their own shit, and that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's
to me.
weird.
Like I've had people, friends. I won't say who, but like, oh, come over and watch the premiere of my Comedy Central special. I'm like, wait, what?
They do that.
Yeah,
They-
they're
Throw a party.
And then you're you know how awkward it is to watch someone stand up with them in the room because then you're like this forced pressure to laugh. Where you're like, good setup.
I understand that, but then we'll have the only time I don't understand it is we'll have like real big movie stars in here, and they don't watch their movies. That I can't understand.
But that's the same
If you're
kind
in
I
a
get it.
massive-
It's the same thing. Yeah,
I
get
know,
it.
but you're in a massive movie. Like, oh yeah, I never saw
Yeah,
that.
but then they probably see all the shit that they hate, or they're like, why did my nose twitch like that
Right.
during this
Oh,
scene?
I'm tired. I was tired that
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
And they fucking covered it up with makeup, and I still know I was
Or
tired.
I could imagine, oh, that was take 26 and take 13 was so much better. Why didn't they use that one? And,
Yeah, like Johnny Depp doesn't watch any of his movies, which I
Yeah.
respect. That makes me like Johnny Depp a lot more.
I guess it seems on that level. It seems a little weird. I mean, a radio show or stand-up.
Nah, I think it's all the same.
specials. Yeah, I guess.
I think it all comes from the same place.
CM Punk has a lot to say. Although you don't have a lot to say because you got it all out with the Art of Wrestling podcast that
I think-
Sam made me fucking listen to.
I think most of the
Which was good, by
questions
the
have
way.
been asked, and I answered them. So thanks for having me. I'll see you guys later. I'm out of here.
How much did that feel like just taking a big brain dump?
That was the only reason I did it.
And you were just like, fuck.
It was very cathartic, and now the whole reason for doing it was to give my fans an explanation as to why I just split.
Right.
And the idea behind it was we're going to do this, and then if anybody has any questions, you're going to email us. We're going to get it out of the way, and then the next week we're going to do podcast number 2, and then boom, that's it. I've moved on. I don't want to be one of these bitter guys that's constantly saying negative things about the company. And then the email server crashed.
Yeah, you guys
because
broke the
it was like-
internet.
yeah, it got real
That's
weird.
great.
And I didn't honestly expect it to be a thing.
Right.
I just wanted to tell my story because everyone was like, "Oh, you quit. You let us down," and that's neither here nor there. I just explained it, and
Yeah, I want to start by saying it's the Art of Wrestling podcast. It's 2 hours because we're not going to have you for 2 hours, unfortunately. Although
It's a long-
I could easily talk to you for 2 hours.
it's a long podcast.
But I'm not as into wrestling as Sam. But from my point of view, when you left WWE, I'm like, oh God, he's so coming back. And Sam's like, I'm telling you, man, he's pretty much sick of it. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. And then they had the pay-per-view in Chicago. I'm like, obviously he's coming back. It's his hometown. And then he didn't come back there. And I'm like, wow, this is for real. That he's really out. And then where I sit, I heard that you quit. You know, and now I know that is not true, and that they fired you on his wedding day.
Yeah, that's like
on your wedding day.
What are you gonna do?
And that was on purpose.
I was
Sure it was.
That was on purpose.
I don't think it just correlated.
That was on purpose.
Like, did you guys realize? I feel like a dick. I just realized that was his wedding day.
Oh my God, was it? I know, but I just want to really fucking, turn the screws a little bit.
Listening to The Art of Wrestling, that when you were talking about everything you were going through right before you quit, it makes it to the point where if you listen to that and you're going through a tough, you're like, I can't complain about my job. I don't have a job.
Everybody's
I was
got
in
different situations.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but you're almost like, Jesus, man, I get it. Like,
And we've heard from a lot of you guys over the years, so I completely believe your story. Do the fans believe it? Did you turn some of those people around?
I mean, I have no reason to lie.
Right.
I wish I don't think I'd be able to make up that stuff if I tried.
Yeah, that's like a serial killer kind of fucking lie.
It's depressing, and when I think about it, and it bummed me out, and I wish it didn't go down that way. But it did. So
my 2 cents, what I've learned over the years, I just always felt like they could easily take care of you guys meaning when you were a wrestler, way better than they did. When you learn about how many days on the road you guys do a year and how you travel and you have to share cars in some cases and share hotel rooms, I'm like, that's crazy. These guys are making so much money for the WWE.
I was on the road for almost 10 years straight. You know what I mean? I needed a break.
But you were, at times the biggest star for the company, and you would just assume that they would have gave you a little more of a break, like not doing the house shows like you explained. Those are the shows that aren't televised.
Yeah, but when you're that big, they no, we need you on the shows,
right?
How's it been like adjusting to just? Is it just super easy getting
to doing nothing?
Yeah,
there's a big adjustment period.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd wrestled since I was 15, and like I said, I've been on the road for that long, so like it got weird for a while.
Right. You wake up and be like, "Where do you do the thing?" You're like, "I'm late for work," and you're like, I got nowhere to fucking go.
Yeah, absolutely. I got no idea what day it is anymore.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's been my life for a couple of years.
There's been some ups and downs, absolutely.
But the other side of it, people go, "But it's a great life. You're the top wrestler, and you get to see the country or the world. You did all those European tours and whatnot." But it does become a grind after a while.
Yeah, it was very much a job. I lost my passion for it.
Well, that was definitely one thing I picked up on listening to the podcast, was like, you could tell how much fucking love you had for wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the fans gravitated to you because you could tell you were a guy that like grew up loving it, did it the right way, and then you could just tell it kind of started wearing down. And I think that's like, a lot of people don't realize that when you get to do the job you want to do, sometimes it gets...
But why didn't Vince McMahon just acknowledge that? Like, oh, he is serious. He's getting burnt out, and we're going to lose money because he's not doing this and this. But let's let him take his time and really try to figure it out and rest, and maybe rework his deal a little bit.
There's always somebody who's going to replace you on the wheel. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of jobs like that. Like comedy,
that's just business. I don't fault him. I don't fault him for that.
Right. People always say that about stand-up. They're like, why don't you guys get a union? Why don't stand-up comics have a union? It's like, because that will never happen. Because the guy will be like, I'll take that gig for $200. I don't give a fuck. And you're like, yeah, but they throw shells at you, muscle shells. And they're like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll sell my CD after the fucking show. And you're like, God damn it.
Right. I didn't realize, how injured you were and how you were, wrestling through all that. A knee injury, an elbow injury, concussions. The staph infection story is brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yes, it is.
I like it. You're like an old Jewish aunt right now talking like, how bad did it hurt?
Well, he says it was the worst pain in his life.
Yeah,
with everything he's gone through. Why didn't they take care of that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I accept full responsibility for being the dumb wrestler who was like, nope, I got to put my boots on and I got to go out there and I got to work through it. And if I don't wrestle, I won't get paid. And, eventually it balanced out to where I was like, what am I doing?
Right.
I feel like I'm dying.
Right.
And then I found out I was dying.
Yeah. He could have died from the staph infection.
They're like, good guess, because you were dying. That feeling you had? You nailed it.
You felt like death? That's what that was. That's your feeling creeping through your body.
You had a blood disease.
Where was it again?
Where was the
staph infection?
You want to see the awesome purple scar?
Yeah. Hell
You
yeah.
guys are so gross. Hell yeah.
You thought we were going to say no?
All right.
I was going to lead with that question.
Right, of course we do.
I'll show you.
Did it start as a little pimple or?
Yeah, and it turned into this giant purple thing. So,
Okay.
if you can.
Wait, a little flap. Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right.
All right.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little indent. Okay.
Jesus.
Still purple, still there.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt, right?
No,
It's pretty much healed, right?
I'm much better now.
Yeah.
When you said you slept after they took that thing out, was it just like your body being like, all right, now that foreign body's gone, we can just shut down?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, once that was lanced and squeezed out of me and all over the ceiling, it was gnarly. I felt much better very quickly.
Right. A lot of people think will eventually go back. What's your thoughts on that? What would it take?
I have a new job. I have a couple new jobs.
We're going to get into the new
Yeah,
jobs.
I have a couple new jobs.
We're very excited for it.
Here's my take on that. I don't want to be that old bitter guy. I don't have a whole lot of nice things to say. They don't have a whole lot of nice things to say about me. So, but I'm willing to just be like, all right, look, great. We had some laughs. I'll see you around. Just you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. I don't know if you can tell that I'm like kind of even uncomfortable talking about it right now, but I know I can't escape that. That's my past, and I'm not trying to pretend. I'm not trying to say wrestling sucks, and I'm not trying to pretend I was never there. I would like to try to move on.
It's like it's like an ex-girlfriend.
Sure.
You're like, I don't want to keep bringing it up. The breakup just happened.
No, it happened. I wasn't, y'all weren't perfect. I wasn't perfect. I certainly wasn't a saint,
Right.
Okay, so let's just let it lay where it is and just move on.
Yeah, he's uncomfortable talking about, but we're so excited because we fucking listen to the podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm also a wrestling fan, so I'm also like,
but let me preface that with
the
reason. Yeah, the reason I did the podcast was really just to tell my story.
Right.
I didn't want it to be like a bashing, and so I know I said some harsh stuff, and I probably made some people mad, but like it had to come out of me so I could move on.
Yeah, it was a bit harsh at times, but what I liked about it was very honest.
Yeah.
And people can't fault you for being honest in the end. You're just telling your story, which is going to be some positive things and obviously some harsh stuff. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
It's great that you have that. You have the podcast. Like, listen, if you want to know what happened, just go listen to that. There's the whole interview. You're not doing like a fucking media round,
right?
Where you're like, coming up next, CM Punk spills the beans. You're like, just listen to the Art of Wrestling.
Well, we certainly can move forward. I mean, when I heard the announcement you were going to do the UFC, I was blown away because I just didn't know that you trained for MMA. I had no idea until I listened to the podcast and knew that you were into jiu-jitsu and whatnot, and you did train a lot. So how excited are you?
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially this morning, were like, "Hey, did you know that they punch you in the face for real there?"
What an asshole!
And I wanna almost. I don't know. I want to call Dana and be like, really, listen.
Dana,
I've been doing this media, and somebody told me that they can punch me for real.
Right.
I just caught wind of something.
I opt out. I'm out.
You're
Can't
done.
do it. I didn't know that.
How quickly together when you knew you were going to go to UFC? Like, did you start looking into teams or training wise?
I mean, I've been training my ass off for a couple months, so. When you talk about where I'm going to train, that's more or less where I can find like the best coaches all under one house. So I'm not bouncing around.
Yeah.
So I'm not, my jiu-jitsu coach is in California, and my wrestling coach is in Chicago, and this and this and that. And obviously the holidays are right around the corner. So I'm staying at home right now, and I'm going to a couple different places in the city. Just to be on the mats, just to get some work in, and then when the new year rolls around, I'll be going somewhere.
And you don't do anything half-assed. I know that. I know that about you. And so obviously you're taking this extremely serious.
Yes.
You know, it's not just a payday or any of that shit.
It doesn't seem like a gig you can take half serious. Where you're like, I'm going to get in the cage with a killer.
I mean, sure you could. You know what I mean?
I bet you a few guys probably went down that road, said fuck it.
You think like tough men that grew up in high school, like, I was pretty tough. What are these guys going to do? And you're like, oh, this Brazilian who's fighting for his family?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, James Toney fought
Randy Couture.
Yeah, he fought Randy Couture a couple years ago. And James Toney's obviously, I mean, how many championships and how many different weight classes did he win?
Lights out Tony.
Awesome boxer.
Yeah, he took a lot of dudes out.
I don't know if he did any takedown defense training.
It certainly didn't look that way in the match.
Right.
When Couture just took him down, you're like, well, that's going to be the fight.
And that
it's
was
just
it.
Couture just laying on his chest and punching him in the head.
As hard as he can.
It's going to be the entire fight.
He's got to try to stay on his feet the whole time.
And what kind of shitty fighter would have Couture been if he's like, I'm going to stand with James Toney?
Right, that wouldn't have been smart.
A knockout artist.
Right. All you had to do was knock him down, and you had the advantage.
Is there a specific, do you feel like there's a specific strength in UFC you're going to go for? Like, Tony's got the standing up, but is there is jiu-jitsu probably your strongest?
Yeah, I think just fighting off my back, I think I'm comfortable with. So, whatever happens, if I get taken down or whatever, I'm pretty confident of, to stand back up and try to hold my own on the feet, but I'm definitely not going in there like James Toney. Like I'm just gonna box.
Yeah.
That would not be wise. That's why I love MMA though.
Right.
There's so many different things.
It's amazing. It's a great sport. Yeah. You have a schedule when you're going to fight officially?
No, not yet. Nothing
about
concrete. I got the whole year to train. They're being very cool. They said, whenever you feel like you're ready, and then we can make an announcement, and then I'll probably still have like another 2 months. Like a full camp and promoting and stuff like that. So it's almost too early to say, but that's why we're saying 2015 to kind of keep it very vague.
Yeah, that's smart.
So most likely you're not fighting in 2015.
No,
you will, but maybe later in the year.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be later.
Okay, I got you.
Like, I'm not fighting in April or anything.
February 4th, it's going like this guy's jumping in head first. Do you feel? Do you know which weight class you're probably going to go with?
185, most likely.
Okay,
all right,
middleweight.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for the UFC in the meantime? Are you going to kind of do some commentary or any of that stuff?
No, I'm doing this, and then. I'll be at 182, the pay-per-view. I got to see DC fight Jones. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be great. That promo they just put out, it looks amazing.
Super awesome, right?
Yeah,
I think it was one of the best ones they've ever done.
And they had that fight back at that press conference where I was like, this is some serious shit. Like, they're going to...
Yeah.
I like when these guys have real shit.
Yeah, that's what...
I mean, sportsmanship it's nice, but as a fan...
sportsmanship, it's okay.
Shaking hands is for babies.
No, but we sit in different places.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the sport, sportsmanship is really important. But when you're sitting at home, you like to think they have a little beef.
When they mean it, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see these guys.
It makes you want to watch the fight a little bit more.
That's what I love about the Diaz brothers. They always seem to bring this air of like, fuck you, I'm taking this personal. And I'm like, good. I kind of like that.
That's when Brock Lesnar, acted out.
That was unbelievable.
Loved it. And then they had to talk to him and go, look, we don't do this here.
His face against the cage after knocking out Frank Mir was like, one of...
And I wanted to tell, we've had Dana on a whole bunch, and I told him, like, but that stuff, we like that.
The coolest line.
The coolest.
I just don't think he didn't appreciate. He didn't appreciate the
Budweiser thing,
sponsor thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna go drink some Coors Light.
I think he could do that. Just maybe lay off the sponsors.
Right.
What did he say? I'm gonna go home, roll on my wife, and drink a couple Coors Lights because they give me money. And I was like, that's the most badass promo.
We loved it at home. Yeah. I'm sure there was some yelling
there's some,
in the offices.
Bud Light office people who were like, what did he just say? Yeah. This is unbelievable. I can't believe that.
But it shows you how much power Dana White has, because then, like, the next day, Brock's like, well,
an hour later.
Right,
yeah.
You're right.
He came out in street clothes and was like, yeah, by the way, whatever I said was that was the heat of battle.
He's drinking Bud Light.
I meant to say I was enjoying this cold Bud Light backstage, and I realized I misspoke.
Yeah.
Pay or no pay, it goes down clean.
You said you have a whole bunch of things happening. So you got the UFC that you're training for.
Yep.
With a fight later in the year. And then what else you got going on?
I'm writing a story in the Thor annual for Marvel Comics, and I'm also I have a project for DC Comics.
Really? So you're working Marvel and DC?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
That is awesome, because that's like some shit where they're like, they don't allow that.
I'm freelance, brother.
Oh, that's pretty like, I'm a soldier without a country.
I let everybody know on the ground floor. Like they both contacted me around the same time, and I was like, "Well, hey, is this going to be a problem?"
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "No, it's cool. Do whatever."
That's nice.
Now, typically, a lot of times in comics, you're either a DC guy or a Marvel guy, but I've never liked that, because why can't I enjoy Batman and also like Wolverine? As far as DC, are you tackling like a character that's already established?
No, I'll be writing. It's a Vertigo title. They're restarting it. I think it might have been around in like the 50s or the 60s. It's called Strange Sports Stories.
There'll be some comic book nerd online that's like, actually, I've read that.
Yeah.
So
74, Phil.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like an anthology, and they have a ton of different writers and artists working on it. I think it's going to be 4 issues, and it's
That's
just
awesome.
going to be. I mean, I think it's all going to be like 8 to 10 page stories. So you're going to get like a whole bunch of different stories in the book.
Right. Is that just like a great release for you? Just being like, let me just get in the world of comics.
Yeah, it's it's super cool. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody. Yeah, that sounds like a great job to me too. I'd be like, Jesus.
Yeah. So you got your shit together, man. You're all relaxed. You're sleeping better.
Yeah.
Your injuries are healed.
Do I look okay? Do I
You look
all right?
great.
Yeah.
Honestly, you look great.
Man.
I said it too excited.
But that means
I think you smell great.
but that means he looked haggard the last time he was in here or something.
I'm sure the last time I was in here, I looked terrible. If you looked at me from like now and you rewind about 12 months ago, I looked awful.
You know what's funny? I went back and watched the Best in the World documentary after I listened to that, and there was that scene where you went and did press, and you're like, getting off a bus, no sleep, I'm in Boston, and you looked like, I was like, get this man a nap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It seemed like you were just going.
Yeah. Well, and that's how you become successful there.
Right.
You know, but it's just to burn the candle at both ends and not have any time off for the whole time I was there.
You pretty much look like you wanted to choke someone out the last time we saw you. We get to see you here and there, like you did our live broadcast in Chicago, which was awesome. This is a different guy. You seem very fucking relaxed.
I'm a very different
And
guy.
very healthy.
and I, like I said before, like I don't, like anybody who works at the WWE who thinks that I'm an asshole or whatever, like I get it, because I was a different person then, and I was miserable,
right?
And something had to change, and like it eventually just built up until it broke,
right?
And it happened that way, and I don't regret anything. You know, I can say I wish, man, looking back now in hindsight, I think both sides can be like, oh well, sure, I wish we would have done X, Y, Z differently, but it had to happen, and it happened, and I'm in a better place.
The one thing about the podcast, which is not trashing anyone, but I don't even know what you're going to say about this, but when you found that old check, I need to know how much it was for.
Thank you.
Right there.
Because that was like to me, I was like, oh God.
I hate talking about money.
I was to the point where I was like,
old check for.
okay, it's enough to contact a company that you don't like.
He hinted that it's more money than most people make in their lifetime.
Yeah, come on.
That he just found it in his house.
I just found it. Yeah, and that's why I realized. I was like, oh,
I think it's a great question.
Okay.
But I've also, because there becomes a position sometimes where a check that of that amount sometimes you can find, and you'd be like, oh, holy fuck.
Right.
It's not like he was like, oh, this is nothing to me. It was like,
You're thinking of like a royalty check from like an episode of like something that's $2.40.
I'm like,
but it was also, I doubt I would have called based on that. But it was also something like that was money that I had already made.
Yeah.
And I said on the podcast, I was already willing. They were withholding my royalty checks, and I was already like, you know what, guys, you can have them. If that's the way this is going to be, if you're going to suspend me and then you're not going to contact me after my suspension and be like, okay, we're ready to, you ready to, like nobody ever called me. So that's almost my big thing was like, well, how am I even in the wrong? Like I'm supposed to grovel after them, you know? Like, okay, if me leaving that day was bad, then they suspended me, and that was my punishment. But nobody contacted me after that. And I was like, okay, I guess that's the way it's going to be. And then I guess I'm just going to sit at home until my deal's up. And they were withholding my checks. And then I was legit like, all right, that's fine. I said to myself, I said, you know what? That's fair. I'm not working. if they want to hold them, that's fine. That's a lot of money, but you know what?
Wow, you were willing to walk away from all that money.
Yeah, I was. And then I found the check from a year ago, and I was like,
because now you're seeing an actual number.
I was like, but I got to call him to get this money.
Yeah.
So then I called him, and then like nobody would get back to me.
Right. And you would hang with Harley Race, and you said that you would see his checks laying around.
Man,
was that really true?
Yeah.
You would actually just see his checks laying around?
Yeah, 100%.
That's great.
He have like checks laying, like all these papers on these desks right here.
Yeah.
Like he would just have checks sitting around the house from WWE
For healthy amounts, too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and I was like a young kid, just like, whoa.
That's pretty cool.
Harley. I was just on Harley's boat, and I'm at Harley's house, and like he doesn't have a care in the world. Look at this. This is awesome. Right. He's like making chili, and you know.
Right.
He's like, hey, pass me that check for $10,000. I need a coaster.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow, you really got it figured out, Harley.
Oh my God! What was I going to say? Oh, what'd you do? How long have you been off now? From wrestling, I guess, because you've done
Almost a full year.
full year.
Yeah. End of January, it'll be a full year.
I didn't realize you were a huge hockey fan.
Huge.
You want to congratulate my New York Islanders for having an amazing
They're
year.
doing very well this
An
year.
amazing year. But I have survivor guilt. I say it on the show all the time. I'm so uncomfortable. They're doing so well. We don't know how to
Gonna
feel
jinx
as
them?
fans. No, we don't know how to feel as fans. It's so weird. We haven't had a good year in, I don't know, at least 10 years.
Isn't this the last year of the Coliseum?
More than 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you feel like this is like
They're the best team in hockey. Well, more or less.
Wait a second.
They're right up there.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not. The Ducks are the best team in hockey right now.
All right, the Islanders
Number
about-
two are the Hawks. But you guys just
And we're 3 then.
You guys just beat my Hawks.
Yeah,
So.
2 goals in 51 seconds. Take that.
Anybody from Boston listening? How about 2 goals in 17 seconds?
Oh,
yeah, that's right, Boston.
Do you feel like they're doing this? This is a typical thing where they're going to have a
Conspiracy.
great season and then move to Brooklyn.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere. I know we made some good, trades in the offseason, but to go from one of the worst teams to almost one of the best teams in the
I'm
NHL
sure it's
is
fun
pretty-
for you guys, for Islanders fans, but it also, a lot of hockey almost doesn't matter until the playoffs.
True.
Look at the Kings last year.
Right.
They were a great team, and then look at those playoffs. I mean,
Right.
they were down 3-0 to the Sharks, and they came back and won 4 in a row in that first round.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm a completely casual fan. I don't
Hockey
start paying
rules.
attention till the playoffs.
Although I gave up on my season tickets it's been 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
I used to go to not all, but
Islanders?
Yeah, about 20 games a year, easy. Easy.
You had good seats?
I finally had to give up. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah,
It's
really
pretty
good
rough. Well, I'm a
seats.
Cubs fan, so I know how you feel. I go to a lot of Cubs games. And
Right.
It gets rough.
It gets rough after a while.
Yeah.
But in your downtime, you got to see the Stanley Cup run.
Yeah.
That had to be exciting.
It was exciting. Yeah. I almost rediscovered after, I don't know, Sam, what WrestleMania was it? I wrestled The Undertaker.
29.
29.
Oh,
so
nice, Sam.
after that, I tore my knee up really good, and I had 5 weeks off.
Right.
And I kind of rediscovered life because I'd never had time off before.
Right.
And it was very eye opening to me.
Were you like a prisoner out of jail? Like you're like,
Yeah, you very much live in a bubble.
you sleep on the floor like Tom Hanks in Castaway when you get back into a hotel?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels right,
Yeah.
sometimes. But and then the next thing I know, I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I can go to hockey games. I can go to the
Right.
movies. I can do all these things. I'm not home 1-2 days a week anymore, and it was very enjoyable.
You guys got to get hurt to get meaningful time off. It seems.
Yeah, most of
It's
the
like the
time,
Army.
unfortunately.
Like you get shot in the foot and you're like, I guess I'm going home now? I have to leave this war zone?
They're like, nope, you can work this typewriter. There you go.
Oh, shit, I got to do paperwork.
What I also liked is, he's having all these surgeries, and Vince calls him as he's still coming out of it.
Yeah.
I hear the surgery went well. We want you back Monday. What? I mean, a bit of an exaggeration, but
Yeah, the elbow thing.
That wasn't an exaggeration at all.
No.
No.
a few days later, he wanted you back
Yeah.
instead of properly, taking some time for yourself.
He's like, all right, well.
That's just the business. That I no hard feelings towards him. or anything. That's the way it is. If I didn't do it, somebody else would have.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Sam, you got a question? Because we only got like 2 minutes left with CM. He's a very busy man today.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I went back and looked at the interview I did with you right before your Undertaker WrestleMania match. And I want to apologize for being an enabling douche because you were so over it even then.
Yeah, I was.
You know, you can just tell watching. And he's
Wait, before that WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
I love Sam's doing fucking. He's watching footage and he's like, right there. I could tell he does.
That was part of that was a big part of the problem. I was wrestling the Undertaker in front of how many people were there?
80,000.
80,000.
I didn't give a fuck.
I didn't give a fuck.
That's hard to wrap
I was just
my
like,
head around.
yeah, whatever.
That's so yeah,
You know,
Hard to wrap my head around that.
I think
zero passion. I was just like, yeah, whatever. You know.
I think you can just be so beaten down, you become apathetic to something that like.
Yeah, because even in the interview, I'm going like, yeah, but it's pretty cool that you get to wrestle the Undertaker. Right? And he's like, yeah, I guess it's cool.
And it's
I don't wanna...
you know,
It's cool to me sleeping in.
he might get offended at that, but like it's nothing against him. It's just where it was at. You know, and I was just like, nah.
I think you'd probably be a guy that would understand that. A guy that's like, maybe you're a little one thin. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he's been around.
You just want to be on his couch.
Yeah.
Instead of in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah.
That shows your confidence because you always knew when you left wrestling you would be totally fine and pop right into something else.
I didn't know. I wasn't. For
sure.
I wasn't, because I can't tell the future. And that you asked me if I'm going back to wrestling ever. And that's my answer now is I don't want to be the guy that says never say never. I don't plan to.
Right.
But I can't tell the future.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there could something could happen. I personally don't see it.
Right.
I could tell you,
What if Vince goes, I'll give you weekends off?
He said that.
Sleep.
I heard that before. I've heard that before. You know what I mean? Like I've heard that before.
In the contract, though. All right, God damn it, I'll write it down this time.
No more
goddamn
no more contracts. How about that?
No more contracts would be nice.
No more contracts.
Smart man.
Get the Rock deal or the Undertaker.
Once a year.
A couple times a year here and there.
When you announced that you were signed to the UFC and immediately the guy who played the Green Power Ranger challenged you to a fight, was it like this is exactly what I was not looking for in this?
Yeah, that's some wrestling stuff right there.
Yeah.
But I've been challenged by everybody, I think, by now.
It could be even. I saw like Jose Canseco.
How bizarre is that?
Yeah, I was like, dude, you got your finger shot off, and now he's like, I'll fight. This isn't a tough man competition.
You know, I didn't sign up for celebrity boxing.
And here's the thing too is like that's kind of my viewpoint on that. So I understand that fans and fighters alike, they will look at me and have that same viewpoint.
Right.
So I'm very like, whatever, okay, great. I understand totally because Jose Canseco wants to fight me, so like I get it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you think you're going to be well received in the UFC by the fans or?
Yes and no. I think I'm going to bring eyes to the product, and I think there's going to be like those MMA purists who are like, go back to phony wrestling, not understanding that MMA actually evolved from pro wrestling.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think there's going to be a way you can satisfy everybody.
No,
but I definitely think it seems like you've got the right approach. You're going to take time to train. You're going to take this as deadly seriously, and then it's going to prove itself. So I think that's.
And in the end, I don't see what the big deal is. If you don't like me and I'm a complete washout and I walk in there and I get destroyed, what are you so mad about? What are you? Unless I'm somehow taking money or food out of your mouth.
Don't bet on it, and then you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, as long as you don't gamble,
as long as you're not betting on it. Right?
Yeah. How much of it is psychology? Because when you're like pro wrestling, you're putting on a show for the audience, so you're paying attention to the audience kind of the whole time. Whereas in MMA, I would think that if for a second you pay attention to the audience, you're getting knocked out or choked.
Yeah. Well, I think it's way more mental than it is like the fight game. I think it's way more mental than anything.
Yeah.
I think I have the right attitude. I'm not going in there thinking, oh, I'm going to knock out Anderson Silva. That's ridiculous. But I'm confident and I believe in myself. So, I'm in the right place.
We got to get him out of here.
Cool.
They're panicking. You're panicking? You're panicking.
Yep.
Is there panic? I can't see anything.
She just did the neck slit throat.
Oh my God!
She's like,
You can't do that.
or you're done.
We love CM Punk. We wish you nothing but the best. We're very excited about this.
Thank you. I always love coming here. You guys are awesome.
Awesome.
And you know how you know Punk is excited about this? This is the first time he's done promo for anything when he's regularly wearing nice clothes. You never
I
saw
dress
it.
up now. Yeah. How about that?
It was hoodies and t-shirts. No matter how hard WWE was like, we have a dress code. He was like, no, we
Fuck
don't.
that.
I respect, as a man that dresses like that constantly, I respect that.
Yes.
Yeah. It would be a press conference, and everybody would be wearing like suits, and I'd be wearing like a hoodie just in the back, just like. Nah.
Good for you.
The big WrestleMania press conference where he was Undertaker match, he was wearing the t-shirt for another wrestler that he wasn't even involved with.
The pipe bomb was in the Stone Cold shirt,
It's
which
phony
was awesome.
pro wrestling. What the fuck am I dressing up for? What are you?
I always found it weird when these guys walked around with suits in wrestling. Triple H wears a lot of suits these days. We remember him when he used to spank girls on our show. We didn't forget Triple H.
He wasn't wearing a suit when he was spanking.
Hell no, man.
We're going to do like that.
I even remember the girl's name, Peaches. Go tell Triple H that.
What a very spanked on the radio name.
Peaches loved to get spanked by Triple H.
Those were the fanny pack days.
Did we get all the plugs in?
UFC.
It's mostly
UFC.
Good.
UFC.
And CM Punk on Twitter. Thank you.
That's me. Earlier I was on a show, and my good friend Cliff Compton. They asked me who the most overrated wrestler of all time was, and I said Cliff. Just because they put me on the spot, and what do you do when you get put on the spot? You make fun of your friends.
Yeah.
He's not overrated.
Okay.
He's a lovely human being.
I'm sure he could take it.
But I think maybe I hurt his feelings a little bit.
Oh, all right.
I just want to apologize. Zack Ryder is the most overrated wrestler of all time.
With that, we say thank you to CM Punk. And I recommend, if you want more of the story, you check out the Art of Wrestling podcast. It really was a good
With
listen.
Colt Cabana.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cole, it's just a good podcast, too. It's
I'm not into wrestling that much.
Well, if you're into wrestling,
if it's something
Opie.
like CM Punk or Stone Cold, I'll listen.
All right, we get it.
All right. Thank you, CM.
Thank you.
All right.
Like it had to come out of me so I could move on.
Yeah, it was a bit harsh at times, but what I liked about it was very honest.
Yeah.
And you
people
also-
can't fault you for being honest in the end. You're just telling your story, which is going to be some positive things and some harsh stuff. That's
And
okay.
It's great that you have that. You have the podcast. Like, listen, if you want to know what happened, just go listen to
there it
that.
is.
There's the whole interview. You're not doing like a fucking media round,
Right.
Where you're like, coming up next, CM Punk
Right.
spills the beans. You're like, just listen to the Art of Wrestling.
Well, we certainly can move forward. I mean, when I heard the announcement you were going to do the UFC, I was blown away because I just didn't know that you trained for MMA. I had no idea until I listened to the podcast and knew that you were into jiu-jitsu and whatnot, and you did train a lot. So how excited are you?
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially this morning, were like, "Hey, did you know that they punch you in the face for real there?"
What an asshole!
And I wanna almost. I don't know. I want to call Dana and be like, really, listen.
Dana, I
I've
just
been
found
doing this
something
media, and somebody told me that they can punch me for real.
Right.
I just caught wind of something.
I opt out. I'm out.
You're
Can't
done.
do it. I didn't know that.
How quickly together when you knew you were going to go to UFC? Like, did you start looking into teams or training wise?
Oh, I mean, I've been training my ass off for a couple months. So, when you talk about where I'm going to train, that's more or less where I can find like the best coaches all under one house. So I'm not bouncing around.
Yeah.
So I'm not, my jiu-jitsu coach is in California, and I have my wrestling coach is in Chicago, and this and this and that. And obviously the holidays are right around the corner. So I'm staying at home right now, and I'm going to a couple different places in the city just to be on the mats, just to get some work in. And then when the new year rolls around, I'll be going somewhere.
And you don't do anything half-assed. I know that. I know that about you. And so obviously you're taking this extremely serious.
Yes.
It's not just a payday or any of that shit.
It doesn't seem like a gig you can take half serious. Where you're like, I'm going to get in the cage with a killer.
I mean, sure you could. You know what I mean?
I bet you a few guys probably went down that road, said fuck it.
You think like tough men that grew up in high school, like, I was pretty tough. What are these guys going to do? And you're like, this Brazilian who's fighting for his family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, James Toney fought
Randy
the
Couture.
UFC.
Yeah.
He fought Randy Couture a couple years ago, and James Toney's obviously. I mean, how many championships and how many different weight classes did he win?
Lights out, Tony.
Awesome boxer.
Yeah, took a lot of dudes out.
I don't know if he did any takedown defense training.
It certainly didn't look that way in the match.
Right.
When Couture just took him down, you're like, well, that's going to be the fight.
And that
It's
was
just
it.
Couture just laying on his chest and punching him in the head.
As hard as he can.
It's going to be the entire fight.
He's got to try to stay on his feet the
and
whole
what
time.
kind of shitty fighter would have Couture been if he's like, I'm going to stand with James Toney?
Yeah,
This
that
guy
wouldn't
is
have been smart.
A
No,
knockout artist.
All right. All you had to do was knock him down, and you had the advantage.
Is there a specific, do you feel like there's a specific strength in UFC you're going to go for? Like, Tony's got the standing up, but is there is jiu-jitsu probably your strongest?
Yeah, I think just fighting off my back, I think I'm comfortable with. So, whatever happens, if I get taken down or whatever, I'm pretty confident of, to stand back up and try to hold my own on the feet, but I'm definitely not going in there like James Toney. Like I'm just gonna box.
Yeah.
That would not be wise. That's why I love MMA though.
Right.
There's so many different things.
It's amazing. It's a great sport.
Yeah.
You have a schedule when you're going to fight officially?
No, not
yet.
Nothing
About
concrete. I got the whole year to train. They're being very cool. They said, whenever you feel like you're ready, and then we can make an announcement, and then I'll probably still have like another 2 months, like a full camp and promoting and stuff like that. So it's almost too early to say, but that's why we're saying 2015 to kind of keep it very vague.
Yeah, that's smart.
So most likely you're not fighting in 2015?
No, I
you will,
I will
but
be.
maybe later in the year?
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be later. in the
Okay,
year.
I got you.
Like, I'm not fighting in April or anything.
February 4th. It's going like this guy's jumping in head first. Do you feel? Do you know which weight class you're probably going to go with?
185 most likely.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
middleweight.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for the UFC in the meantime? Are you going to kind of do some commentary or any of that stuff?
I'm doing this, and then I'll be at 182, the pay-per-view. I got to see DC fight Jones. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be great. That promo they just put out, it looks amazing.
Super awesome, right?
Yeah.
I think it was one of the best ones they've ever done.
And they had that fight back at that press conference where I was like, this is some serious shit. Like, they're going to...
Yeah.
I like when these guys have real shit.
Yeah, that's what...
I mean, sportsmanship it's nice, but as a fan...
Sportsmanship, it's okay.
Shaking hands is for babies.
No, but we sit in different places.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the sport, sportsmanship is really important. But when you're sitting at home, you like to think they have a little beef.
When they mean it, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see these guys.
It makes you want to watch the fight a little bit more.
That's what I love about the Diaz brothers. They always seem to bring this air of like, fuck you, I'm taking this personal. And I'm like, good. I kind of like that.
That's when Brock Lesnar, acted out.
That was unbelievable.
Loved it. And then they had to talk to him and go, look, we don't do this
His
here.
face against the cage after knocking out Frank Mir was like, one of...
And I wanted to tell, we've had Dana on a whole bunch, and I told him, like, but that stuff, we like that.
The coolest
a
line.
little bit.
The coolest,
I just don't think he didn't appreciate.
I know.
He didn't appreciate the
Budweiser
the
thing?
sponsor thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna go drink some Coors Light.
I think he could do that. Just maybe lay off the sponsors.
Right.
What did he say? I'm gonna go home, roll on my wife, and drink a couple Coors Lights because they give me money. And I was like, that's the most bad.
Sammy's outside with CM Punk.
Yeah.
CM Punk, yes. Jimmy, welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
We were talking about Cuba with Adrian. He's not happy with this Cuban thing that is going down. That's Dan Soder.
Nice to meet you. All right.
Really good to see you again, buddy. Good to see you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats for landing on your feet.
Yep.
First of all, I got to start
Where
by...
do you need me at? Right here?
wherever you feel comfortable. First of all, Jim Norton just left with his coat on, and he's so bummed out.
Yeah, he was...
but he's got to shoot today.
Are we on right now?
Yeah.
Jim's dead to me.
Oh.
He's dead to me.
He's a big star, though.
He's dead to me.
He's got to get to set.
What is he shooting?
He's
shooting
for Deadbeat.
Yeah, a new show he got a part in, and he's very excited about it, so he has to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Hollywood Jim Norton.
And they wanted him to leave like an hour ago. He's like, no, I got at least say hi to CM Punk, and then you're running late, so it's not in the cards today.
Nah.
Which is okay.
He's dead to me.
I like your cutthroat mentality. You left for a job? Fuck you.
Yeah,
You're dead to me.
you gotta eat. You gotta pay the bills.
I'm trying to give a good explanation too, and he won't listen. This guy.
I hope he's listening right now.
He probably is in a cab or something.
You do that? Would you do that? You listen to your own radio show?
No. I stopped doing that probably 15 years ago.
You've never caught a replay?
A little bit, every once in a while, but I don't.
Do you ever listen and go, "Good job"? Give yourself an affirmation.
Oh, no, half the time, like, what a fucking douche you are.
Yep.
That was such a
I hate
leading
it.
question.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just hear all the mistakes you made, and this
you
and that.
You see yourself and just like, no, don't make me watch this.
Yeah, I find it impossible to watch myself do stand-up.
Isn't that weird?
Impossible.
Everyone says the same exact thing.
I know people though that are super fucking arrogant.
We're all just self-loathing. We all just hate
Most of
ourselves.
us
Which is
are,
good.
so
That means that's a good thing because
you're humble.
Yeah.
I don't like me.
Yeah.
I know people that do watch their own shit, and that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's
to me.
weird.
Like I've had people, friends. I won't say who, but like, oh, come over and watch the premiere of my Comedy Central special. I'm like, wait, what?
They do that?
Yeah, throw a party,
and then you're you know how awkward it is to watch someone stand up with them in the room because then you're like this forced pressure to laugh. Where you're like, good setup.
I understand that, but then we'll have the only time I don't understand it is we'll have like real big movie stars in here, and they don't watch their movies. That I can't understand.
But that's the same.
I get it. It's the same thing. Yeah,
I know, but you're in a massive movie. Like, oh yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, but then they probably see all the shit that they hate, or they're like, why did my nose twitch like that during this scene?
I'm tired. I was tired that day.
Yeah.
And they fucking covered it up with makeup, but I still know I was tired.
Or I can imagine, oh, that was take 26 and take 13 was so much better. Why didn't they use that one? And,
yeah, like Johnny Depp doesn't watch any of his movies, which I respect. That makes me like Johnny Depp a lot more.
I guess it seems on that level it seems a little weird. I mean, a radio show or stand-up.
Nah, I think it's all the same.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it all comes from the same place.
CM Punk has a lot to say. Although you don't have a lot to say because you got it all out with the Art of Wrestling podcast that Sam made me fucking listen to.
I think most of the questions have been asked and I answered them. So thanks for having me. I'll see you guys later. I'm out of here.
How much did that feel like just taking a big brain dump?
That was the only reason I did it.
And you were just like, fuck.
It was very cathartic. And now the whole reason for doing it was to give my fans an explanation as to why I just split.
Right.
And the idea behind it was we're going to do this, and then if anybody has any questions, you're going to email us. We're going to get it out of the way, and then the next week we're going to do podcast number 2, and then boom, that's it. I've moved on. I don't want to be one of these bitter guys that's constantly saying negative things about the company. And then the email server crashed.
Yeah, you guys broke the internet.
It got real weird.
Great.
And I didn't honestly expect it to be a thing.
Right.
I just wanted to tell my story because everyone was like, "Oh, you're quit. You let us down," and that's neither here nor there. I just explained it, and
I want to start by saying it's the Art of Wrestling podcast is 2 hours because we're not going to have you for 2 hours, unfortunately. Although
it's a long.
I could easily talk to you for 2 hours.
It's a long podcast.
But I'm not as into wrestling as Sam. But from my point of view, when you left WWE, I'm like, oh God, he's so coming back. And Sam's like, I'm telling you, man, he's pretty much sick of it. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. And then they had the pay-per-view in Chicago. I'm like, obviously he's coming back. It's his hometown. And then you didn't come back there. And I'm like, wow, this is for real. That he's really out. And then where I sit, I heard that you quit. You know, and now I know that is not true, and that they fired you on his wedding day.
Yeah, that's like
on your wedding day.
What are you gonna do?
And that was on purpose.
You know, I was
sure it was.
That was on purpose.
You know, I don't think it did just correlated.
That was on purpose.
It's like, did you guys realize? I feel like a dick. I just realized that was his wedding day.
Oh my God, was it? I know, but I just want to really fucking, turn the screws a little bit.
Listening to the Art of Wrestling, that when you were talking about everything you were going through right before you quit, it makes it to the point where if you listen to that and you're going through a tough, you're like, I can't complain about my job. I don't have a job.
Everybody's
I was in
different situations.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but it also, you're almost like, Jesus, man, I get it. Like, And
we've heard from a lot of you guys over the years, so I completely believe your story. Do the fans believe it? Did you turn some of those people around?
I mean, I have no reason to lie.
Right.
I wish. I don't think I'd be able to make up that stuff if I tried.
Yeah, that's like a serial killer kind of fucking lie.
It's depressing, and when I think about it, and it bummed me out, and I wish it didn't go down that way. But it did. So
my 2 cents, what I've learned over the years, I just always felt like they could easily take care of you guys meaning when you were a wrestler, way better than they did. when you learn about how many days on the road you guys do a year and how you travel and you have to share cars in some cases and share hotel rooms, I'm like, that's crazy. These guys are making so much money for the WWE.
I needed I was on the road for almost 10 years straight. You know what I mean? I needed a break.
But you were, at times the biggest star for the company, and you would just assume that they would have gave you a little more of a break, like not doing the house shows like you explained. Those are the shows that aren't televised.
Yeah, but when you're that big, they, well, no, we need you on the shows.
Right.
How's it been, like, adjusting to just... Is it just super easy getting
to doing nothing?
Yeah, to
no,
doing.
I dig it. There's a big adjustment period.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd wrestled since I was 15, and like I said, I've been on the road for that long, so like it got weird for a while.
Right. You wake up and be like, "Where do you do the thing?" You're like, "I'm late for work," and you're like, "Oh yeah, I got nowhere to fucking go."
Yeah, absolutely. I got no idea what day it is anymore.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's been my life for a couple of years.
There's been some ups and downs, absolutely.
But the other side of it, people will go, "But it's a great life. You're the top wrestler, and you get to see the country or the world. You did all those European tours and whatnot." But it does become a grind after a while.
Yeah, it was very much a job. I lost my passion for it.
Well, that was definitely one thing I picked up on listening to the podcast, was like, you could tell how much fucking love you had for wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the fans gravitated to you because you could tell you were a guy that like grew up loving it, did it the right way, and then you could just tell it kind of started wearing down. And I think that's like, a lot of people don't realize that when you get to do the job you want to do, sometimes it gets...
But why didn't Vince McMahon just acknowledge that? Like, oh, he is serious. He's getting burnt out, and we're going to lose money because he's not doing this and this. But let's let him take his time and really try to figure it out and rest, and maybe rework his deal a little bit.
There's always somebody who's going to replace you on the wheel. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of jobs like that. Like comedy,
that's just business. I don't fault him. I don't fault him for that.
Right. People always say that about stand-up. They're like, why don't you guys get a union? Why don't stand-up comics have a union? It's like, because that will never happen. Because a guy will be like, I'll take that gig for $200. I don't give a fuck. And you're like, yeah, but they throw shells at you, muscle shells. And they're like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll sell my CD after the fucking show. And you're like, God damn it.
Right. I didn't realize, how injured you were and how you were, wrestling through all that. A knee injury, an elbow injury, concussions. The staph infection story is brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yes, it is.
I like it. You're like an old Jewish aunt right now talking like, how bad did it hurt?
Well, he says it was the worst pain in his life.
Yeah,
with everything he's gone through. Why didn't they take care of that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I accept full responsibility for being the dumb wrestler who was like, nope, I got to put my boots on and I got to go out there and I got to work through it. And if I don't wrestle, I won't get paid. And, eventually it balanced out to where I was like, what am I doing?
Right.
I feel like I'm dying.
Right.
And then I found out I was dying.
Yeah. He could have died from the staph infection.
They're like, good guess, because you were dying. That feeling you had? You nailed it.
You felt like death? That's what that was. That's feeling creeping through your body.
You had a blood disease.
Where was it again?
Where was the
staph infection?
You want to see the awesome purple scar?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You guys are so gross. Hell yeah.
You thought we were going to say no? All
right.
I was going to lead with that question.
Right, of course we do.
I'll show you.
Did it start as a little pimple or?
Yeah, and it turned into this giant purple thing. So,
okay.
If you can.
Wait, a little flap. Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right.
You see that?
Yeah. It's like a little indent. Okay.
Jesus.
Still purple, still there.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt her.
No.
It's pretty much healed, right?
I'm much better now.
Yeah.
When you said you slept after they took that thing out, was it just like your body being like, all right, now that foreign body's gone, we can just shut down?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, once that was lanced and squeezed out of me and all over the ceiling. It was gnarly. I felt much better very quickly.
Right. And a lot of people think will eventually go back. What's your thoughts on that? What would it take?
I have a new job. I have a couple new jobs.
We're going to get into the new jobs.
I have a couple new jobs.
We're very excited for it.
Here's my take on that. I don't want to be that old bitter guy. I don't have a whole lot of nice things to say. They don't have a whole lot of nice things to say about me. So, but I'm willing to just be like, all right, look, great. We had some laughs. I'll see you around. Just you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. I don't know if you can tell that I'm like kind of even uncomfortable talking about it right now, but I know I can't escape that. That's my past, and I'm not trying to pretend. I'm not trying to say wrestling sucks, and I'm not trying to pretend I was never there. I would like to try to move on.
It's like an ex-girlfriend.
Sure.
You're like, I don't want to keep bringing it up. The breakup just happened.
No, it happened. I wasn't, y'all weren't perfect. I wasn't perfect. I certainly wasn't a saint, like, okay, so let's just let it lay where it is and just move on.
Yeah, he's uncomfortable talking about, but we're so excited because we fucking listen to the podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm also a wrestling fan, so I'm also like,
but let me preface that with like the reason. Yeah, the reason I did the podcast was really just to tell my story.
Right.
I didn't want it to be like a bashing, and so I know I said some harsh stuff, and I probably made some people mad, but
we loved it at home. I'm sure there was some yelling
there's some,
in the offices.
Bud Light office people who were like, "What did he just say? This is unbelievable! I can't believe that."
But it shows you how much power Dana White has, because then, like the next day, Brock's like, "Well,
an hour later,
right? You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
He came out in street clothes. It was like, yeah. By the way, whatever I said was that was the heat of battle.
Drinking Bud Light.
With a Bud Light. Yeah. I meant to say I was enjoying this cold Bud Light backstage, and I realized I misspoke.
Yeah.
Pay or no pay, it goes down clean.
You said you have a whole bunch of things happening. So you got the UFC that you're training for.
Yep.
With a fight later in the year, and then what? What else you got going on?
I'm writing a story in the Thor annual for Marvel Comics, and I'm also I have a project for DC Comics.
Really? So you're working Marvel and DC?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
That is awesome, because that's like some shit where they're like, they don't allow that.
I'm freelance, brother.
Oh, that's pretty You're like, I'm a soldier without a country.
I let everybody know on the ground floor. Like they both contacted me around the same time, and I was like, well, hey, is this going to be a problem?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, no, it's cool. Do whatever.
That's nice.
Now, typically, a lot of times in comics, you're either a DC guy or a Marvel guy. But I've never liked that, because why can't I enjoy Batman and also like Wolverine? As far as DC, are you tackling like a character that's already established?
No, I'll be writing. It's a Vertigo title. They're restarting it. I think it might have been around in like the 50s or the 60s. It's called Strange Sports Stories.
There'll be some comic book nerd online that's like, actually, I've read that.
Yeah.
So
74, Phil.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like an anthology, and they have a ton of different writers and artists working on it. I think it's going to be 4 issues, and it's just going to be. I mean, I think it's all going to be like 8 to 10 page stories. So you're going to get like a whole bunch of different stories in the book.
Right. Is that just like a great release for you? Just being like, let me just get in the world of comics.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think everybody. Yeah, that sounds like a great job to me too. I'd be like, Jesus.
Yeah. So you got your shit together, man. You're all relaxed. You're sleeping better.
Yeah.
Your injuries are healed.
Do I look okay?
You look great.
Yeah.
Honestly, you look great.
Man.
I said it too excited.
But that means
I think you smell great.
But that means he looked haggard the last time he was in here or something.
I'm sure the last time I was in here I looked terrible. If you looked at me from like now and you rewind about 12 months ago, I looked awful.
You know what's funny? I went back and watched the Best in the World documentary after I listened to that, and there was that scene where you went and did press, and you're like, getting off a bus, no sleep, I'm in Boston, and you looked like, I was like, get this man a nap.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like you were just going.
Yeah. Well, and that's how you become successful there.
Right.
But it's just to burn the candle at both ends and not have any time off for the whole time I was there.
You pretty much look like you wanted to choke someone out last time we saw you. We get to see you here and there, like you did our live broadcast in Chicago, which was awesome. This is a different guy. You seem very fucking relaxed.
I'm a very different guy.
Very healthy.
And I, like I said before, like I don't... Like anybody who works at the WWE who thinks that I'm an asshole or whatever, like I get it, because I was a different person then, and I was miserable,
right?
And something had to change, and like it eventually just built up until it broke,
right?
And it happened that way, and I don't regret anything. You know, I can say I wish, man. Looking back now in hindsight, I think both sides can be like, oh, well, sure, I wish we would have done X, Y, Z differently, but it had to happen, and it happened, and I'm in a better place.
The one thing about the podcast, which is not trashing anyone, but I don't even know what you're going to say about this, but when you found that old check, I need to know how much it was for.
Thank you.
Right there.
Because that was like, to me, I was like, oh, God.
I hate talking about money.
I was to the point where I was like,
old check for.
okay, it's enough to contact a company that you don't like.
He hinted that it's more money than most people make in their lifetime.
Yeah, come on.
That he just found it in his house.
I just found it. Yeah, and that's why I realized. I was like, oh,
I think it's a great question.
Okay.
But I've also, because there becomes a position sometimes where a check that of that amount sometimes you can find and you'd be like, oh, holy fuck.
Right.
It's not like he was like, oh, this is nothing to me. He was like,
you're thinking of like a royalty check from like an episode of like something that's $2.40.
Like,
but it was also, I doubt I would have called based on that. But it was also something like that was money that I had already made.
Yeah.
And I said on the podcast, I was already willing. They were withholding my royalty checks, and I was already like, you know what, guys, you can have them. If that's the way this is going to be, if you're going to suspend me and then you're not going to contact me after my suspension and be like, okay, we're ready to, you ready to, like nobody ever called me. Mm-hmm. So that's almost my big thing was like, well, how am I even in the wrong? Like I'm supposed to grovel after them, like, okay, if me leaving that day was bad, then they suspended me and that was my punishment. But nobody contacted me after that. And I was like, okay, I guess that's the way it's going to be. And then I guess I'm just going to sit at home until my deal's up. And they were withholding my checks. And then I was legit like, all right, that's fine. I said to myself, I said, you know what? That's fair. I'm not working. If they want to hold them, that's fine. That's a lot of money. But you know what?
Wow, you were willing to walk away from all that money.
Yeah, I was. And then I found the check from a year ago, and I was like,
because now you're seeing an actual number.
I was like, but I got to call him to get this money.
Yeah.
So then I called him, and then like nobody would get back to me.
Right. And you would hang with Harley Race, and you said that you would see his checks laying around.
Man,
was that really true?
Yeah.
You would actually just see his checks laying around?
Yeah, 100%.
That's great.
He have like checks laying, like all these papers on these desks right here.
Yeah.
Like he would just have checks sitting around the house from WWE
for healthy amounts too.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I was like a young kid, just like, whoa,
that's pretty cool.
Can I have
Harley? I was just on Harley's boat, and I'm at Harley's house, and like he doesn't have a care in the world. Look at this is awesome. Right. He's like making chili, and
right.
He's like, hey, pass me that check for $10,000. I need a coaster. Yeah. Like, oh wow, you really got it figured out, Harley.
Oh my God. What was I going to say? Oh, what'd you do? How long have you been off now? From wrestling, I guess, because you've done
almost a full year.
Full year,
yeah. End of January, it'll be a full year.
I didn't realize you were a huge hockey fan.
Huge.
You want to congratulate my New York Islanders for having an amazing year.
They're doing very well this year.
An amazing year. But I have survivor guilt. I say it on the show all the time. I'm so uncomfortable. They're doing so well. We don't know how to feel as fans. No, we don't know how to feel as fans. It's so weird. We haven't had a good year in, I don't know, at least 10 years.
Isn't this the last year of the Coliseum?
More than 10 years. Yep. Yeah.
So do you feel like this is like a...
They're the best team in hockey. Well, more or less.
Wait a second.
They're right up there.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not. The Ducks are the best team in hockey right now. Right. Number two are the Hawks. But you guys just
we're three then.
You guys just beat my Hawks. So.
Yeah, 2 goals in 51 seconds. Take that.
Anybody from Boston listening? How about 2 goals in 17 seconds?
Oh,
yeah, that's right, Boston.
Do you feel like they're doing this? This is a typical thing where they're going to have a great season and then move to Brooklyn.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere. I know we made some good trades in the offseason, but to go from one of the worst teams to almost one of the best teams in the
I'm
NHL
sure it's fun for you guys, for Islanders fans, but it also, a lot of hockey almost doesn't matter until the playoffs.
True.
Look at the Kings last year.
Right.
They were a great team, and then look at those playoffs. They were down 3-0 to the Sharks, and they came back and won 4 in a row in that first round.
Yeah, I'm a completely casual fan. I don't start paying attention till the playoffs.
Although I gave up on my season tickets it's been 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
I used to go to not all, but
Islanders?
Yeah, about 20 games a year, easy. Easy.
You had good seats?
I finally had to give up. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah,
It's
real
pretty
good
rough.
seats.
Well, I'm a Cubs fan, so I know how you feel. I go to a lot of Cubs games. And
Right.
It gets rough.
It gets rough after a while.
Yeah.
But in your downtime, you got to see the Stanley Cup run.
Yeah.
That had to be exciting.
It was exciting. Yeah. I almost rediscovered my, like after, I don't know, Sam, what WrestleMania was it? I wrestled The Undertaker.
29.
29.
Oh,
so
Sam.
after that, I tore my knee up really good, and I had 5 weeks off.
Right.
And I like kind of rediscovered life because I'd never had time off before.
Right.
And it was very eye opening to me.
Were you like a prisoner out of jail? Like you're like
Yeah, you very much live in a bubble.
you sleep on the floor like Tom Hanks in Castaway when you get back into a hotel?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels right,
Yeah.
sometimes. But and then the next thing I know, I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I can go to hockey games. I can go to the movies. I can do all these things. I'm not home 1-2 days a week anymore, and it was very enjoyable.
You guys got to get hurt to get meaningful time off. It seems.
Yeah, most of
It's
the
like
time,
the army.
unfortunately.
Like you get shot in the foot, and you're like, I guess I'm going home now. I have to leave this war zone.
They're like, nope, you can work this typewriter. There you go.
Oh shit! I got to do paperwork.
What I also liked is, he's having all these surgeries, and Vince calls him as he's still coming out of it.
Yeah.
I hear the surgery went well. We want you back Monday. What? I mean, a bit of an exaggeration, but
Yeah, the elbow thing.
That wasn't an exaggeration at all.
No.
No.
a few days later, he wanted you back
Yeah.
instead of properly, taking some time for yourself.
He's like, all right, well,
That's just the business. That I no hard feelings towards him or anything. That's the way it is. If I didn't do it, somebody else would have.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Sam, you got a question? Because we only got 2 minutes left with CM. He's a very busy man today.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I went back and looked at the interview I did with you right before your Undertaker WrestleMania match.
Uh-huh.
And I want to apologize for being an enabling douche because you were so over it even then.
Yeah, I was.
You can just tell watching it.
Wait, before that WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
I love Sam's doing fucking.
didn't-
He's watching footage, and he's
I
like,
didn't
right there.
care.
I could tell he does.
He's
it.
done.
that
He's
was part of
finished.
that was a big part of the problem. I was wrestling the Undertaker in front of how many people were there?
80,000.
80,000.
I didn't give a fuck.
I didn't give a fuck.
That's hard to wrap
I was just
my
like,
head around.
whatever.
So, yeah.
Hard to wrap my head around that.
I think-
zero passion. I was just like, yeah, whatever.
I think, you can just be so beaten down, you become apathetic to something that,
Yeah, because even in the interview, I'm going yeah, but it's pretty cool that you get to wrestle the Undertaker, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess it's cool.
And it's
I don't wanna...
it's cool to me sleeping in.
he might get offended at that, but it's nothing against him. It's just where it was at, and I was just like, nah.
I think you'd probably be a guy that would understand that. A guy that's like, maybe you're a
I
little
would
worn
hope.
thin. Yeah.
Yeah, as long
I
as
hope
he's
he
been
gets it.
around. And...
You just want to be on his couch
Yeah.
instead of in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah.
That shows your confidence because you always knew when you left wrestling you would be totally fine and pop right into something else. That
I didn't know. I wasn't
For sure.
I wasn't. Because I can't tell the future. And that you asked me if I'm going back to wrestling ever, and that's my answer now is. I don't want to be the guy that says never say never. I don't plan to.
Right.
But I can't tell the future.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there could something could happen. I personally don't see it.
Right.
I could tell you no.
What if Vince
cool.
goes, I'll give you weekends off?
He said that.
Sleep.
I